Hello students, the next part in your syllabus of topic 3 in environmental botany, that is the hydrosphere. So question asks like write a detailed note on hydrosphere or hydrarch. So in previous video I already told about the hydrosphere. So this hydrosphere that is the process of succession begins in a habitat with suboptimal supply of water, for example in ponds, lake, marshes, etc. So hydrosphere is the succession begins with the water. So let's move towards the hydrosphere. So the various serial stages in aquatic habitat such as ponds, lake and marshes constitutes the hydrospheres. So hydrospheres will be begins or it is the serial changes will happening in the aquatic habitat. For example, जो ponds है, lakes है, marshes, from that the hydrosphere will be start. So it can be studied in a pond where it is deep in middle and shallower towards the bank. So as you know the structure of ponds, so these ponds are very deep in the middles and shallower at the sides. The hydrospheres begins with the pioneer and terminates in a climax community. As you know, the succession is happening with the pioneer communities, and at the end there is the stable community, that is the climax communities are present. The depth of the pond decreases as the bed of the pond is raised. As you know, in the pond, the middle portion is the deep, and the side there is the shallower portion. So depth of this pond is decreases when the bed of pond is raised. The serial stages in hydrospheres are follows. So हम देखते हैं कि हाइड्रोस्फीयर्स हाइड्रोस्फीयर्स में कैसे सक्सेशन होता है, कैसे जो पायोनियर जो पॉन्ड है, पॉन्ड में पायोनियर कम्युनिटी से स्टेबल कम्युनिटी तक कैसे डेवलपमेंट होते जाते हैं. So first stage in the hydrosphere, that is the pioneer stage. Pioneer, that means the beginning stage. The early colonizer are the phytoplanktons like blue-green algae, diatoms and bacteria, etc. The paramecium, amoeba, verticillata, which feeds on phytoplanktons, appear in the pond water. The dead pioneer forms a layer of mud at the bottom. So in the pioneer stage, there is the formation of the phytoplanktons. These phytoplanktons are nothing but the small living organism, and they are found in the colonies like blue-green algae, some diatoms, then bacteria. They are the phytoplanktons and they form the colonies. Also some other communities like paramecium, amoeba and verticillata, they are eating these phytoplanktons which are appeared in the ponds. Then some pioneer communities after dead, and they forms the mud at the bottom. जो पॉन्ड्स का जो बॉटम है, आफ्टर जो इनकी लाइफ साइकिल ख़त्म होने के बाद जब वो डेड होते तो डेड होके वो जो बॉटम है, बॉटम की यहाँ पे उनका एक लेयर बन जाता है, दैट इज़ द और दे फॉर्म्स द मड्स. So this is the pioneer stage. Then second stage is the submerged stage. So in submerged stage, a soft muddy bed develops at the bottom as a dead and decaying planktons and the soil particles eroded from the surrounding banks. The new habitat is comparatively shallow and is inhabited by the submerged plants like Hydrilla, Ceratophyllum, then Vallisneria, Urticulata, Potamogeton, etc. So, in submerged stage, after the formation of muds or after the dead and decaying of the phytoplanktons, they will be forms the soil particles. These soil particles and these dead phytoplanktons are eroded each other, and on that space the new habitat is comparatively that is the submerged plants are formed like Hydrilla, Ceratophyllum है, Vallisneria है, Urticulata है, Potamogeton है. These are the submerged plants. So, and in submerged stage there is the formation of submerged plants are happens. They spread rapidly through the vegetative propagation to form a mass that restart the current of waters and holds the eroded soils material. These submerged plants sink to the bottom and build up the substratum. The habitat becomes less suitable to the existing plants as the ponds has become shallower. The new habitat replaces the submerged plant by the floating plants. So, in this submerged stage, there is the formation of submerged plants. These submerged plants are propagated vegetatively very fast, and then they can hold them to the substratum, but the submerged plants sink to the bottom and they build up the substratum. The habitat of the ponds are less suitable for this type of plants like submerged plants. So, these submerged plants will be replaced by the floating plant. जो पॉन्ड की इकोसिस्टम पॉन्ड जो सिस्टम है उसमें दिस system will be less suitable for the submerged plants. That's why after some times these submerged plants are replaced by the floating plants. So next stage is the floating stage. So in floating stage the depth of water is 4 to 8 feet. By the end of submerged stage, the submerged plant move into the deeper layer. The area once inhabited by submerged plant is now colonized by the floating plant. So in floating stage, the depth of water is about 4 to 8 feet. That's why there is the end of the submerged stage and there is the formation of the floating stage. So these the submerged plants move into the deeper layer, and there is the formation of new colonies, that is the floating plants have their rhizomes, roots, stalks and root anchored at the bottom and their leaves spreading over the surface of water, while others are free floating. So as you know, in the floating plants at the bottom there is the rhizomes or rootstock or roots. These are all anchored at the bottom and only leaves are spreading over the surface of water, and they will be free floating on the water. The floating state is comprised of the plants like Nymphia, Trapha, then Monocoria, Ranunculus, Ecornia, Pistia, Olfia, Azula, Salvia. These are the plants which are floating plants and that are mostly present in the ponds. The broad leaves of the floating aquatic plants spreading over the surface of water intercept light, so the bottom receives very little or diffuse light that either illuminates or shifts submerged plants to the deeper water. So when the floating plants are spreading over the surface of water, they accumulate or they absorb whole light. So the जो submerged plants है, these submerged plants, they are not getting the sufficient sunlight. So these plants are shifting the deeper of the water. They are not on the surface of the water. So due to the broad leaves of the floating plants, sunlights, they will be absorb all sunlights, and the submerged plants, they are not getting the enough sunlight. That's why these plants are deeper in the waters. Then after the floating stage, there is the reed swamp stage. So community of the amphibians plants like cypress, typha, then pragmites, Sagittaria, etc., occupies the shallow water on the 4 feet depth. They have their rhizomes, root stalks, and roots ramifying densely in the soil to prevent any erosion of the soils. Then the depth of water is very much reduced in course of fine rendering the substratum unfit for the seeds. So in this reed swim stage, there is the amphibious community will be developed, or like the plants like cypress, typha, pragmatis, sagittaria. These are the plants which are amphibious plants. So they can develop a community around the shallow water of the 4 feet depth or around the pots. So the rhizomes or root stalks or the roots of these reed swim or amphibious plants are anchored to the soil, and ultimately they will be reduce the erosion of the soil around the ponds. Then fifth stage is the sage meadow stage, that is marshy stage. So due to the successive decrease in water level and further changes in the substratum, species of cypressae and gramineae like Eleucharis, Coria, then Juncus, Cypress, etc., colonized the area to form the thick vegetations. So the aerial emergent part causing rapid loss of water and removal of surface water from the substratum. Thus the substratum is exposed air. Many species like mint, campanula, iris, etc., also grow intermixed in this stage. So in the sage meadow stage, that is surrounding the pond, there is the water level will be decreases. So the plants like cypressae, plants like family from the cypressae and gramineae, that means some grasses are colonized in that area. जहाँ पे पॉन्ड के साइड में जहाँ पे वाटर लेवल कम होते जाता है, वहाँ कुछ ऐसे sage meadow stage, that is the some grasses like plants are develop their colony. So the aerial emergent part causing rapid loss of water, removal of surface water from the substratum. The substratum is exposed to air. Many species like mint, campanula, then iris, etc. also grow intermixed in this stage. So in the surroundings of this area or pond area, there is the loss of water and there is the removal of water from the substratum. That's why also some intermixed communities are developed on that area like mint, campanula, iris, etc. Then woodland stage. As the soil is exposed in dried, the organic matters rapidly decomposes. The area is now added by the land plants like acacia, termenia, salix, and populus. So after the marshy places, the soil is fully exposed and dried, and they dried the organic matters. They will be decomposed radially, and at that place there is the woody plants like acacia, terminalia, salix, etc. plants are grows. They react on the habitat which is rendered unsuitable for woodland and stage plants. So this site is not much suitable for woody plants. So they can be reacted or they can be grow on that type of habitats, and they will be growing their community. Then next is the forest stage or climax stage. So the woodland community is invaded by several trees which grows in the soil that is rich in food chain and humus. The trees grow denser on dry and well aerated soil. In tropical climates, heavy rainfall develops tropical rainforest. In temperate region develops mixed forest of ulmus, ulcer and quercus. In region of moderate rainfall develop the tropical deciduous forest. The growth of shade-loving plants is favored as the light is cut off the canopy of forest. Thus, the area once under deep water is occupied by forest community provided the climate is moist. So, this is the last or stable community in the, or it is also called as the forest stage. So, in the forest stage, there is the land or in the woodland communities invaded on these plants, and they on this land there is the several trees are grown which are the on this land the soil will very rich in humus. That's why the food chain will be developed on this soil. Then there is these trees are grows on the dried and aerated soils. So according to the climate, there is the development of different types of forest. Like if the high rainfall is formed, then there will be tropical rainforest is developed. If the moderate rainfall, then on that land there is the tropical deciduous forest is developed. Then due to the shade loving plants are also grows on that land due to the canopy of the forest. Thus this area will be covered. Deep water is occupied by the forest community, and they can provided the climate will be moist. So you have to also write down the figure. On this figure there is the, you have to see the different stages of hydrospheres or how the hydrospheres is developed. So in that different stages are mentioned in that figure. The figure is not clear in this video, but you can refer the figures on your own notes. So in that how the different successional stages will happening in the hydrospheres are mentioned in this figure. So at the bottom first there is the submerged plants, then floating plants, and the first there is the phytoplanktons or phytoplanktons community is developed. Then second is the submerged stage or submerged plants community is developed. Then in the third floating stage, on that the floating plants are developed. Then in the red swamp stage there is the amphibious plants are developed. Then there is the seed meadow stage, on that the marshy plants are developed. Then woodland stage, and last climax stage is the forest stage. So in this way the hydrosphere successions will be happening. So lastly I shortly mention the all stages in the hydrosphere. So hydrosphere in nothing but the process of succession begins in the water habitat or aquatic habitat. So in this hydrosphere there are different stages are happening. That is, in first stage there is the pioneer stage. In that the phytoplanktons or colonies of phytoplanktons are formed, and after the death of this pioneer community there is the mud is developed at the bottom. Then in the submerged stage there is the development of the submerged plants like Ceratophyllum, Hydrilla, etc. But this habitat is not suitable for these submerged type of plants, so these will be replaced by the floating plants. Then third stage is the floating stage. On this floating stage, there is the floating plants are developed, and these floating plants they will be acquire the whole surface of the water. Then in the red swamp stage there is the development of amphibious plants, and they have prevents the erosion of the soils. Then fifth stage is the sage meadow stage. In that there will be some species from cypresses and grasses or gramineas are formed on that area, that is the marshy place. So these plants will develop on that area. Then woodland stage, in that some woody plants are developed on that community or on that soil, so they can be these soils will be exposed to sunlight. That's why the soils will be dried and radially decomposes, and on that high humus contents there is the wood lands plants will be, or woody plants will be developed. Then last one is the forest stage, or this is the stable community, or which is also called as the climax. So on that there is the, due to the high soil is reached with the high humus, the forests are developed. In that, according to the environment, different types of forests are developed. If heavy rainfall, then tropical rainforest. In temperate region there is the plants like ulmus, curcas are developed. If the moderate rainfall is then there is the tropical deciduous forest is developed. So according to the environment conditions, the different types of forest are developed on this hydrosphere succession. So I hope all of you are got about this concept. Now I stop here.